As we find ourselves in a month-long break of MLS as the Leagues Cup is now underway, it's the perfect time for us to take a look back at the past 5 months of action that we've seen across the league. With about 12-ish games left for each club before the playoffs start, I want to take a look back and pick out some of the best moments and storylines that we've seen in this season already. And to do this to the best of my ability, I'm bringing in the big guns with none other than my man Cheyenne from Next Generation Football to help spread some love. After this video, be sure to also hop over to his channel as well, because over there we're discussing the hottest topic at the moment in Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. And with all that being said, let's look at what we think are the best storylines so far in the 2023 MLS season. And to kick it off, in my opinion, there's really only one place to start a video like this, and that's in Cincinnati, Ohio, because the transformation of FC Cincinnati from one of the worst teams in MLS history to being projected to set a new MLS regular season point record is absolutely insane. Currently, FC Cincinnati is leading the league by a mile, being on top of the Supporters Shield race by 8 points and with no real signs of slowing down. Pat Noonan and co have redefined what soccer in Cincinnati looks like. He's excelled at getting the most out of the players that were already a part of this team, such as Brandon Vasquez, Lucho Acosta, and Barriel. But he's also done a fantastic job at locating new talents and bolstering the ranks. Cincinnati has become one of the places to be in MLS with their fantastic stadium and a fan base that never lets up. Coming into the season, I think most felt that Noonan was going to build upon their first playoff appearance last year, but I'm not sure many thought that they would blow past teams in this league like they have. One of the best aspects of this team, in my opinion, is how they don't always straight up dominate matches, and they work about 10 times harder than any other team. There have been so many games this year that I feel like Cincinnati was going to slip up, but as that 87th, 88th, 89th minute comes around, this team just hits another gear and they never stop. Now, maybe their stars of last year aren't hitting the same heights as before, but I feel like this Cincinnati team is more of a unit than ever. At this point, I feel comfortable saying Cincinnati will probably win the Supporters Shield and add that first piece of silverware to their cabinet. And along with that, they're in the semifinals of the US Open Cup, which is another trophy I'd say they're probably favorites for. The Eastern Conference is no joke this year, and with so many teams dominating on this side of the line, without a doubt, FC Cincinnati leading the line, it's gotta be one of the best storylines of the season so far.
For my first pick, it is St. Louis City in their Cinderella expansion season in MLS. This season, MLS fans, pundits, you and me included, Anthony, thought St. Louis City were going to be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. A squad with not many or really any superstars are sending everyone in MLS, breaking records, and are currently the best team in the Western Conference. I'll happily accept being completely wrong about this team this season because they have been amazing to watch and it's been beautiful to see from them in their expansion season. The style of play this team is playing with under Bradley Carnell, the fans selling out tickets at City Park have made this team one of my favorite teams to watch this season in the league. I'm really excited to see how St. Louis City SC does in this year's playoffs.
Another moment I was extremely happy to see come to fruition was Chicho Arango finding his way back to MLS as he signed with Real Salt Lake. 6 months ago, I could not believe LAFC let go of Arango. In his 2 years with the club, he tallied 30 goals in regular season games, along with helping lead the line to their Supporters Shield and MLS Cup victory in 2022. Arango was a player who popped up in the biggest moments for LA, and I could not believe that they sold him so easily, and on top of that, I couldn't believe another MLS club didn't make that move to pick him up. We're talking about a proven goal scorer in this league and one who didn't even want to really leave in the first place, which is why after only 6 months at Pachuca, Arango pushed for a way back into the league, and luckily Real Salt Lake were willing to spend the $6 million to pick him up. Salt Lake is a club that never really went out for these star players, but over the past few years, they've remained extremely competitive, pushing into the playoffs and even making a run to the conference semifinal a few years ago. So far in 2023, they've kept up pace and currently sit third place in the Western Conference. They're already looking set for the postseason picture, and then when you add in Chicho Arango to that 9 position, there's no doubt it's going to work out for both parties. On his debut, it only took him 23 minutes to get on the score sheet, and in his following 3 games, he picked up another 3 goal contributions. With Arango at the 9, he's going to make our RSL's whole team look a lot better. With Savarino on the wing too, Diego Luna heating up, and hopefully Damir Kreilach in full fitness soon, this star power signing could really help Salt Lake make that final step into the top bracket of clubs in MLS. And the best part is, it doesn't even have to stop there. Leagues Cup is another competition I could see RSL going far in, and this is just the beginning of something really special for Rango and Salt Lake supporters.
For my second one, it is Ricky Puig's goal versus LAFC on July 4th at the Rose Bowl. El Tráfico is one of my favorite rivalries in MLS, and as a neutral, I really enjoy watching these matches between LAFC and the LA Galaxy. In recent years, we've seen LAFC be the star-studded team in LA, and the LA Galaxy are kind of dwindling behind. But when it comes to El Tráfico, everything gets thrown out the window. This match was supposed to be the opening match of the season for both of these teams, but it unfortunately got canceled due to the weather. So they set it up on one of my favorite holidays, July the 4th, and this match did not disappoint. A sold out crowd at the Rose Bowl, all the big stars were there, minus Chicharito unfortunately, but the match did not disappoint. Going into this match, LAC were the top team in the Western Conference, while the LA Galaxy was the worst team in the Western Conference. But as I said early on, when it's a rivalry match, all those things get thrown out the window. And there's already controversy brewing with Ricky Puig and LAFC after his celebration in the US Open Cup match between these two teams. We saw Chiellini calling him a clown during his post-match press conference, but it seems like Ricky Puig loves being the villain in this rivalry. And he was the hero for the LA Galaxy in this match, scoring the winning goal in a sold-out crowd at the Rose Bowl. For me, this match really reminded me of a vintage MLS match where it was scrappy, there's goals from both ends, and there was a late winner from a big-name superstar. As a neutral watching it, I thoroughly enjoyed this match, and it was on July the 4th, so we got to celebrate with fireworks.
And finally, the best storyline that is, in my opinion, one of the best this season is Wilfried Nancy's utilization of young players from Crew 2 in order to implement his personal style into the Columbus Crew. With Wilfried Nancy coming over to Columbus from Montreal, the Crew looked ready to revolutionize their style of play for the new manager. But Nancy elected to do so without really bringing in many new faces over the offseason, and instead he looked within the club to find his next stars. Nancy had a reputation of working with youngsters in Montreal, and luckily for him, the Crew were home to the inaugural champions of MLS Next Pro with Crew 2. Therefore, Nancy brought up many guys from that pool, including Patrick Schulte, MLS Next Pro Goalkeeper of the Year in 2022, along with the MLS Next Pro MVP Jason Russell-Rowe, and other Crew 2 stars such as Philip Quinton, Mo Farsi, and Max Arfston. On top of that, he's worked to get the best out of these youngsters that were already with the first team, such as Sean Zawadski, who's growing into this new center back role, and Alex Matan, who was tossed over to Romania before coming back this season. By bringing these young faces into the first team setup and using the stars like Cucho and Zelarayan, Nancy has quickly cemented his style into this Columbus Crew side. Last year, the Crew picked up 46 goals across the entire season. And this year, after only 23 games, the Crew are only 1 goal off that mark and lead the league in that department. Now, his plan hasn't gone exactly right, and there are a few youngsters that have fallen out of the first team duties since the season began, but Nancy continues to get the best out of his players, putting them in different positions than they may be used to, but still finding a way to succeed. The Crew may not be lighting the league on fire, but they've been one of the teams that people want to avoid. In my opinion, the Crew are the prime example of how MLS Next Pro can help create a pipeline into first team football. And I think after a successful inaugural year for Crew 2, they've reaped the benefits of creating a competitive atmosphere in their development squad.
For my third and final pick, it's all things Thiago Almada, especially his free kicks. Thiago Almada was the big name superstar coming in for Atlanta United this season, and he has not disappointed one bit. We've seen Atlanta United bring in many big name superstars in the past like Miguel Almiron, Ezequiel Barco, and Pity Martinez. And Thiago Almada was the newest South American to come to Atlanta United. There's a lot of eyes on Thiago Almada as we've seen some of these South American players not pan out for Atlanta United. So was he going to be one of the next ones on that list? Absolutely not, because he's been mesmerizing this season. Not only having a great season in MLS this year, scoring countless amazing free kicks, he got called up to the Argentinian national team and won the World Cup. Then later on scored his first goal for the Argentina national team in a friendly for their celebration match from winning the World Cup, to now continuing that red hot form in MLS, being called up to the All-Star team and still scoring countless amazing free kicks. He's on track to be one of the biggest outbound transfers in MLS history, and I wouldn't be surprised if he broke Miguel Almiron's record for the most expensive outbound transfer in MLS. And when you watch Thiago Almada play, you can just tell he's a class above so many other players with his vision, with his set pieces, with his goals. He's so refreshing to watch, and I love watching him for Atlanta United, and I really hope he goes on to do big things.
Of course, there are a million different storylines and moments that deserve to be mentioned here, but with only so much time, this is where we pass it over to you. What have been your favorite moments of the MLS season thus far? Is it Messi coming over to Miami to shock the world? How tight we've seen the Eastern Conference in the first 22 games? Or are you out there loving watching the Italian Renaissance fail in Toronto? Whatever it is, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to head over to Next Generation Football to hear Cheyenne and I break down what the future of Messi could be in Miami. I appreciate all of you watching, and I'll see you next time.